Any ads heard during this episode that are not in our voice are placed by third-party agencies. They should not be considered the opinion of or to be endorsed by Hoosier Myths and Legends.
Welcome to another episode of the Hoosier Myths and Legends podcast.
I'm Rebecca Wilhelm.
I'm Mary Quigley.
And I'm Hope Wilhelm.
Join us as we dive into the spookier side of the Hoosier state.
So what comes to your mind when you think of Indiana? Do you think of corn? Do you think of basketball? Do you think of the Indianapolis 500? Maybe you think of famous celebrities who were born in Indiana, like John Mellencamp or Michael Jackson.
But as the saying goes, there is more than corn in Indiana. 92 counties make up the Hoosier state. In this podcast, we are going to discuss some Indiana folklore from each of these counties. If you are into tall tales, ghosts, or spooky legends, then this is a podcast you are not going to want to miss. The legend we have for you today comes from Benton County, Indiana.
The Fowler Theatre in Fowler, Indiana isn't just a beautifully restored Art Deco cinema. It's a hotspot for the paranormal. Visitors and staff have reported shadowy figures, disembodied voices, and eerie cold spots in the auditorium. There are some who say that the ghost of the theater's original owner is still watching over this beloved building, while others whisper about a former manager who's never truly left. There are also those who believe that the spirits could be tied to a tragic 1907 train accident that once shook the town. Grab your cup of coffee, sit back, and relax as we uncover the eerie past and supernatural secrets of one of Indiana's most haunted theaters.
This is a place I've been wanting to research since last year.
Me too. So Mary and I first heard about this place when we were at the Northwest Indiana Paracon up in Cedar Lake last year.
Becky and I were able to meet some of the people involved with saving the theater. It just seems like a cool place with a lot of neat history.
It really does. And Mary, you know I love old theaters.
So let's go ahead and get into it.
So when Greek immigrant Dick Vlastos opened the Fowler Theatre, he was not just chasing the American dream. He had a dream of something even bigger, bringing the first-run films and big city entertainment to small-town Indiana.
The Fowler Theatre opened its doors on March 1st, 1940, with the film His Girl Friday, starring Cary Grant and Rosalind Russell.
Okay, so me being a film literature teacher, I have to say that movie, His Girl Friday, is one of my favorite classic movies. Have you ever seen the movie, Mary?
No, I haven't.
Well, it's what they call a screwball comedy, and if you're into old movies and you've not seen this one, I highly recommend it. It was a great choice for an opening night film.
When we were researching the history of the Fowler Theatre, we learned that it was one of only 5 or 6 theaters in all of the United States to premiere Gone with the Wind. And, of course, that has become one of the most famous movies of all time. Now, that movie premiered in Atlanta in December of 1939, so the Fowler Theatre showed that major film in its first year of being opened.
To me, that's really impressive, and it's such a big deal because it was usually only your larger cities or theaters that were even able to screen those kind of movies back in those days.
Mr. Vlastos' dream and vision is what helped make the Fowler Theatre the heart of the community.
I agree, Mary, and I think it's really made the theater into what I would call a centerpiece of the town.
Now, eventually, Dick Vlastos ended up moving out to Southern California. Over the years, the theater changed hands multiple times, and by 2001, it faced possible demolition due to disrepair.
Yes, according to a Pattern Energy article from 2022, The town of Fowler, actually, they wanted to tear the building down.
In fact, there was a storage unit company that wanted the land for a storage and unit facility.
And that's when the Prairie Preservation Guild, which is a local nonprofit, stepped in to save the day.
There was one local woman named Karen Moyers who felt that the theater needed to be saved. She, along with 6 other people, founded the Prairie Preservation Guild.
Now, I have to say, I think this is amazing. The Prairie Preservation Guild has made it a mission to save other historic buildings, and the Fowler Theatre was their very first.
The Fowler Theatre reopened in December 2001 and continues to operate, offering both movies and live performances. Fun fact, it still has its original marquee.
Yeah, and I saw on the Fowler Theatre's Facebook page that they are able to run movies, and they even offer classes for the community.
I saw where a local bakery is holding cake decorating classes there in March.
But of course, this theater would not end up as an episode of our podcast unless there were tales of the supernatural.
Many believe the Fowler Theatre is haunted by several spirits.
So one is thought to be the original owner, of course, Dick Vlastos, and many people think that he may have come back in death to the theater he once loved.
When we return from a short break, shadowy figures, eerie whispers, and ghostly apparitions still haunt the aisles of this historic theater. Are you an Indiana small business owner looking to reach a wider audience?
Consider partnering with the Hoosier Myths and Legends podcast directly to advertise your business.
Our listeners are passionate, engaged, and love supporting local businesses just like yours. By advertising with us, you'll connect directly with a community that values what Indiana has to offer.
Promote your business with the Hoosier Myths and Legends podcast and watch your customer base grow. Ready to make your mark? Contact us today at HoosierMythsandLegends@gmail.com and let's bring your business to the forefront. So we're back. Now, let's go ahead and get into some of the hauntings that are said to occur at the theater.
Word of the hauntings began while the theater was being renovated in the early 2000s.
The hauntings started with what I would call your classic haunting behaviors.
Lights are reported to turn off and on by themselves. The light switches are actually flipping to the on and off position, which I think is wild.
That really is. And the doors in this theater have also been known to open and close all by themselves.
Sometimes that kind of stuff can be explained, but then people started hearing the disembodied voices.
And from what we've read and heard at the Northwest Indiana Paracon, anyone who spends any amount of time in this theater usually leaves with a spooky story.
So one of the spirits in the building is thought to be Dick Vlastos, but they also believe the spirit of a former manager who died in 1968 may also be haunting the building.
Yes, and there's lots of people who have felt this spirit in various parts of the building. Now, rumor has it that this manager may have committed suicide, but it's not known if they passed in the building or not.
And then there's one of the most heartbreaking spirits said to linger at the Fowler Theatre, the ghost of a child.
Right. So there's several visitors and staff members. They've reported seeing a shadowy figure of a small boy, and he's always seen wandering through the auditorium. And there are some people who have even heard the faint sound of laughter when there's no children in the building.
That gives me chills. And it gets even creepier. People have felt small tugs on their clothing as if a child is trying to get their attention. Can you imagine sitting in an empty theater and suddenly feeling a tiny hand grab your sleeve?
No, thank you. But paranormal investigators have picked up on even more eerie evidence, like unexplained movements in the seats, almost as if he's still there, or somebody is, watching a movie.
But no one really knows for sure how this child's spirit came to the theater.
Many believe he is tied to a train accident that occurred near the location of the theater in 1907. On January 19, 1907, a catastrophic collision occurred on the Big Four Railroad near Fowler. A passenger train, shrouded in dense fog, collided head-on with a freight train. The wreck was horrific. There was about 25 people who lost their lives, and there was many more who burned in the fires that followed.
And here's where things get interesting. Before the Fowler Theatre was built, the land it stands on was home to a hotel, one that reportedly housed victims and witnesses of the train wreck. Some say the tragedy left behind residual energy, tying the spirits of that fateful day to the theater we know today.
And it kind of makes sense to me. Locations with traumatic histories often become hotspots for paranormal activity. And, it could be that some of those souls have never really left.
That's what many people believe.
So there's some investigators think that the spirit of the boy might be connected to this train accident.
In our research, it seems that there are some reports of paranormal activity occurring in the area of the train accident.
Paranormal investigators often find that sites with traumatic histories, like the Fowler Theatre, exhibit heightened supernatural activity. It's as if the spirits get bound or stuck to the place where their lives abruptly ended.
And with reports of shadowy figures, disembodied voices, and other unexplained phenomena at the theater, it's hard not to consider the possibility that these hauntings are connected to the 1907 tragedy.
I definitely think that past tragedies leave a mark on a location, and I really do think they influence the stories and experiences of everyone who visits later.
Absolutely.
Stay tuned next time as we explore the ghostly legends and history surrounding the Rhodes Hotel in Atlanta, Indiana. And also, pay close attention because Mary and I have been working on some bonus episodes that I think you're going to like.
Have you ever had an experience at the Fowler Theatre? Are you familiar with its history? We would love to hear about it. Please send us an email to HoosierMythsAndLegends@gmail.com or reach out to us on social media. We may use it in a later episode. In the email, let us know if you wish to remain anonymous.
To see our source material, please visit our website, HoosierMythsAndLegends.com. Hoosier Myths and Legends is a Quigley Productions podcast.
Our theme song was written and recorded by Wet Blanket. The song title is Taxidermy Race Car.
As always, stay spooky.